ọjọ́ mẹ́ta. It's been 3 days, and then ẹ kú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta. Ẹ káàárọ̀, ẹ káalẹ́, ẹ káàsán, ibikíbi tẹ́ bá ti ń gbọ́ mi. My name is Adekunle Adeleye, as you all know me, and this is about my third video, and today I want to talk about the reconstruction of Africa with particular emphasis to Nigeria. I am not saying that I will not call for the violent solution of Nigeria. Far from it. That would be a disservice to humanity. Having witnessed a civil war that lasted 3 years. But I think Nigeria, and indeed the whole of Africa, must be encouraged to challenge the 1884 to 1885 design of Africa in Berlin, probably known as the Berlin Conference. We have not been given the chance to grow organically, and I can't overemphasize this. So many times I've spoken to us about the need for Africa to redesign, to rediscover itself. We must return to pre-slavery, pre-colonial era, and begin to find ourselves. We are not engaged. I think we're entangled. And it's by design, by foreign power. The purpose of their putting us together is for their own benefit. Everybody knows that. And if you wake a child up today, he will go ahead and tell you that slavery and colonialism did not favor Africa. Now, I'm going to talk to you about 3 reasons why Africa, and with particular emphasis to Nigeria, why we must reconfigure ourselves. Wọ́n ní òòṣà bí ò lè gbè mí, ṣe mí bí ò ṣe bá mi. If we don't know where we're going to, we at least know where we're coming from. So, àwọn tó ń lo GPS, àwọn tó ń lo navigation, if they find themselves in the middle of nowhere, they will retract their steps, they will retrace their steps and begin the journey again. And that is what I'm calling for in this instance. I think it's high time Africa returned to pre-slavery and pre-colonial borders. Teba Africa. We're a country of many nations, and we've been mixed. There has been a mismatch of nations in Africa. I mean, for instance, why can't, with the exception of Ethiopia and Liberia that was formed by America, colonized, why can't the rest of Africa find themselves in that situation? So we need to look into that. We must pursue the necessity to grow organically, like Europe. Clearly, grow organically, be Europe should grow. Kilodetali, be Europe, be Asia, be South America, be the Arab countries. Why can't we be that with those nations? But we found ourselves at the mercy of our Creator, not God, the Almighty, but our own at the Berlin Conference that brought us together. So we need, it's important. Nǹkan tó fi ń jẹ́ èèyàn nìyẹn, nǹkan tó bá fúnra rẹ̀ ṣe, what you did yourself. For instance, Some people left England, they left United Kingdom in those days, and they went to United States of America, and they formed a country there. Wọn ò ṣe lè fún àwa náà láàyè láti lè ṣe orúkọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Why can't they give us a chance to do that by ourselves? Káwa náà lè sọ pé government of the people, by the people and for the people. Káwa náà lè sọ pé we the people. But the reverse is the case in the case of Africa. Àwọn ló kó wa together, àwọn ló kó wa lẹ́rú, wọ́n tún colonize wa. So we must challenge that in the purest form. We can negotiate ourselves out of this entanglement. I'm not calling for arms and violence or war, nothing like that. Àwa náà ìwé education tó ń gbé wá sọ́dọ̀ wa, àwa náà a ti perfect ẹ̀. We know what we want. So kì í ṣe pé kí àwa kan ká kàn máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń continue in that narrative tó ń set fún wa. We should be able to set our own narratives, not one prepared by someone else. Èmi ò ní fẹ́ kí aráàta tèmi bá bímọ ńsìn, mi ò ní fẹ́ jẹ́ kí aráàta kó lọ wá tọ́ ọmọ mi. So position táwa Africans have rí ara wa dé nìyẹn. So in the case of Nigeria, because mi lè ṣe kí n má sọ̀rọ̀ Nigeria, I think we should be given a chance to be in the mode of Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Yeah, Luxembourg. I'll make that. In those days, one single visa no matter what countries method. And they're different countries, different army, different everything. They are sovereign countries themselves. That is the least we can aspire for in Nigeria. Tẹ́ bá wo bí Africa ṣe rí nsìn, I mean, if you ask me my 2 cents to help with that configuration, I will. For instance, our brothers in the southeast, the FFICs and the BBUs, wọ́n lè merge pẹ̀lú àwọn Cameroonian brothers in the southwest of Cameroon to form a country. They have similarities in cultures and language and food and everything. One day they can become a country. In the same token, our Nigerians are in the southwest. We have brothers in Benin Republic, they form country, but the continued following that conversing tẹ̀lé àwọn ará bíi zombie wọ́n ti match wa papọ̀ náà wọ́n ti mash wa papọ̀, and we continue to stay within that. That's the number one reason tí Africa ò fi lè develop. For instance, I always use Nigeria as an example. Nobody is saying Tinubu is not doing his best, but the question is, after he leaves, who takes over? Is it going to be someone from the southeast, like it happened during the Jonathan regime, where he fielded the national institutions with his people, as we have now with Tinubu, who has fielded the institutions of Nigeria with his people. And then when it comes to the Fulani, Hausa Fulani, they're going to feel, it's a vicious circle. It's a vicious circle. Whereas we can have separate nations, states, countries, call it whatever you want to call it. Olúkálùkù á dẹ̀ máa grow bó ṣe wù, or otherwise bí ó ṣe wù. Because kò sí nǹkan tí ò lè ṣẹlẹ̀, even if we have these separations, so to speak. But I, Adekunle Adeleye, will not come from violent separation of Nigeria. No. But we can have reasonable discussions. We can have reasonable discussions as to how we want to move forward. It has been said in some quarters that the amalgamation of 1914 is not even legitimate, because time again it has been shown that at least Yoruba, speak from Eurocentric point of view, no Yoruba man was there to sign any document to say we want to be together with people from the southeast and the north. So gbogbo yẹn ló yẹ ká wò. But our continued uh, unity, forced unity, I think is one of the reasons why we've not been able to progress. Àwọn kan ń pera wọn ní progressives in Nigeria, bó tilẹ̀ jẹ́ pé wọn ò mọ̀ pé it's a political ideology. But what it means to say is that they have they want to make Nigeria progress, develop. To a concern, simple word, develop, but we like big grammars. It is important for a meal if President Tinubu want me to give my 2 cents about what you should do. I think it should be radical. It should be able to bring new ideas, new innovations to governance in Africa. And once Nigeria does something, the whole of Africa will just follow suit. Be or Nigeria should be, and that's how important Nigeria is. He needs to do something really, really radical, something really, really revolutionary, starting from Nigeria. So, why important key Nigeria? We have to be given the chance to rearrange ourselves. Africa must be given the chance to rearrange themselves, not the 1884, 1885 arrangement made by foreign powers. I always cite the example of the United States of America. Tó ń kóra wọn tó ń gbéra láti United Kingdom tó ń dẹ̀ lọ sí America. New land tó ń dẹ̀ form idea. United States of America is an exception. No other country can be that. As a matter of fact, copying what is already on ground is always inimical to any country or any person coming up with such ideas. Come with your own ideas. I have said without number. I have said that without as many times as I can remember, that every international system requires local adaptation. And if you can adapt it to your system locally, come up with your own system. We've heard Atigboti, the former president, Pasanjo, he has said democracy is not for Africa. I hardly agree with him, but on this occasion, I do totally. We can come up with our system of government. Delete Obafemi, see how he succeeded. See how he succeeded in making sure the southwest of Nigeria in those days was always progressing and developing at a pace equal to what we had in Europe. At that time, France didn't have a TV station. At that time, Russia didn't have. At that time, Liberty State Stadium was even before any stadium was built in some European countries. So that means our continued stay in Nigeria, the Southwest, and is drawing us backwards. In Konyato, we are different peoples in Africa. Africa, we are different people. Àwọn Tutsis, wọ́n yàtọ̀ sí àwọn Hutsis. Look at the Wolof people, the Mandingo people. Wọ́n wà káàkiri, wọ́n wà ní Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali. But these people can separate themselves and form their own countries. There's always going to be when two is company, three is a crowd. When we have more than 3 people coming together, that is shameful. And what is through that? How much of us saw Nigeria with several nationalities? So it is important we come together and redefine ourselves, see where we want to belong moving forward. So, talking about security, security is about to see security, any country about to see security, there can never be development in that country. Take Nigeria, for example, and I'm sure it has happened in many other West African countries, probably in the whole of West Africa, in the whole of Africa. Sorry, the incursions of the Hausa Fulani herdsmen and so on that is being aided by ISWAP, and Boko Haram. Why in the 21st century táwọn kan sì fẹ́ máa fi religion wọ́n máa fi foment trouble? They are using religion as a culture to undermine our culture in the 21st century. Lẹ́yìn tí slavery ti lọ tipẹ́tipẹ́. Don't forget, most of Africa was colonized initially ab initio by the Arabs, by force and by religion. Nísìnyí, religion nìkan náà lò. Just sometimes last year, Saudi Arabia offered to build 200 mosques in what's this country in West Africa? Burkina Faso. The young leader said, no, let us have schools, let us have education. I'm sure if it was Nigeria or from the north, from maybe some part of the south, would say, okay, bring it on. Because it has been used before, and one thing reach around, one thing expand the sphere of influence on these people. These people I'm talking about. But we should not be allowing these things to be happening in modern day Nigeria. You see, we've been in country since 1960. Ṣé wọ́n sọ pé òòṣà bí ò lè gbè mí ṣe mí bí ò ṣe bá mi ni? If the experiment of being one country is not working for over 60 years, why can't we try something new? Why can't we try something new? Àti mọ ibi tí eléyìí ń lead wa, it's a road to nowhere. All President Bola Tinubu, President Bola Tinubu has to do now is to be bold and be radical. Kó sọ pé we can no longer chat this course, but it's not taking us anywhere. Àwa kọ́ la nira wa. Àwa kọ́ la nira wa. As I said earlier, look at East Africa. Zulus, bọ́n ṣe wà ní South Africa, náà wà ní Zimbabwe. There are some other tribes tó yẹ pé the same bọ́n ṣe wà ní South Africa, náà wà ní Botswana, náà wà ní Lesotho. They can form their own countries. So there are many instances like that in Africa. Tó yẹ pé when we have our natural borders, what we were before the Europeans came, why are we afraid? Why are we afraid to embrace ourselves, to acknowledge ourselves, to see the things, to let the world see us the way we really are, not how they want us to look like? To survive slavery, to survive colonialism, to survive neocolonialism. Now we're in the era of dependency theory. That means we're going to be forever dependent on these people from the north. When I say the north, I mean the west, because they're above us, north, after Africa, Europe, then America. Instead of having a symbiotic relationship between the technology transfer from the Europeans, they rather have us. They need our raw materials. Raw materials are cheap. Kán wá tà fún wa lọ́pọ̀. Kán wá tà fún wa lọ́wọ́n gógó. Wọ́n á rà á lọ́pọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wa. Wọ́n á tà á lọ́wọ́n gógó. Mo ń wo time o, because mo fẹ́ make sure pé, as always, I don't like my talk shows going beyond 30 minutes, and I'm going to make sure, as always, this doesn't. So, yellow bit. Ẹ wo Nigeria again. I call it the hypocrisy. I'm just talking about the economic reason why we should consider the Benelux experience. And with the hypocrisy, I call it the hypocrisy of Gilda and Guinness. Àwọn tó ń ṣe Gilda tó ń ṣe Guinness tó ń tà á, tó ń rí owó, tó ń jèrè ní South West, ní South East. Owó náà, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ sọ pé ẹ fẹ́ Gilda and Guinness ní North, ẹ lè ná owó náà. That's hypocrisy, pure and simple. Kò yẹ kẹ́ torí tí religion bá forbid yín from producing Gilda and Guinness, Star, Hab, etc., etc. That same religion must deny you from spending the proceeds thereof. Let's stop all this hypocrisy. Let's stop all this hypocrisy. Ẹ má jẹ́ a máa tanra wa mọ́. Let's be able to tell ourselves the basic truth. We can have a negotiated disentanglement. Ó ti di web nsìn, ó ti di web oríṣiríṣi, eléyìí ti lọ́mọ, eléyìí ti lọ. Wọ́n ní tí ojú bá ní sùúrù, á rí mú. Tí ojú bá ní sùúrù, á rí mú. Sùúrù ló gbà. So ẹnjọ́ mẹ́ta mo gbọ́ pé àwọn kan wọ́n ń ṣe ètò lóríṣiríṣi láti make sure pé àwọn nǹkan tó ń bọ̀ tá à ń gbọ́ bóyá òótọ́ ni bóyá irọ́ ni o, pé kò ní wọ́n á lè reduce tension tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà fún wọn ṣe. Àwọn kan wọ́n ń pera wọn ní àwùjọ ọmọlúàbí tó ń ṣe oríṣiríṣi nǹkan wọ́n ń ṣe oríṣiríṣi ètò láti make sure pé wọ́n reduce tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀, Ọlọ́run ní Elédùmarè ní jẹ́ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ o. But if it happens, who are we to say no? But what is going on all over the world? How are we sure it's not going to happen in Africa? It's already happening in Europe. Look at the war between Ukraine and Russia. It's happening in the Middle East. Look at the war. Look at Gaza. Look at everywhere around that region. Israel and Iran kò tán lẹ̀. Israel and the Arab countries kò lè tán lẹ̀. Ẹnjọ́ mẹ́ta the United States president won't try láti foment trouble in South America. So there's a new world order coming up. We must be ready for it. There's a new world order coming up. Àwọn Yorùbá dẹ̀ sọ pé ó ń bọ̀, àwọn là ń dẹ́ẹ̀dẹ̀. Are we ready? I don't think so. Right. So, apart from economic reasons that we, the Yorubas, we can stand on our own. We have abundant natural resources. We already have a system of government in place. We have our kings. We have our politicians. We have just about everything that we ever need to be one country. Our minorities won't pariwo pé what will become of us. Why should they be afraid? Why should they be afraid? There are countries in Europe that the population is less than 500,000. There are places in the world, there are countries in the world that the population is less than 50,000. Yet they're surviving. Yet they are recognized. No nation in Nigeria, I haven't found any nation in Nigeria that has a less than 5 million people population. And they have enough land mass. They have enough land mass to be a nation unto themselves. There are some countries that maybe they are like a space, like an area in Ikeja, and a full-blooded country. Why are we afraid? So it is high time we began to rethink ourselves as nations within Africa. Let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to the beginning. The Bible says, "To thy tent, O Israel." Ẹ jẹ́ kó olúkálukú lọ sílé ẹ̀, ká ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wá ká dàálẹ̀ ká tún ṣà, so to speak. Let's throw every card on the table and let's redesign ourselves, not live according to the dictate of some foreign powers. We are now educated. àti kò sẹ́ni tí ò mọ bí Nigeria should become Nigeria. We have our natural boundaries. Let us follow it. Let us follow it. Yeah, I remember back in 2020. I've said it before, maybe not in my previous recordings. When I ran to be the governor of Ondo State, and I went to a restaurant, one popular restaurant owned by an uh, gentleman, and I met one of the ladies who served me was speaking. She was speaking Yoruba in Akure dialect. And I asked her, I said, "Oh, where are you from in Akure?" She goes, "I'm not from Ondo State." But you're speaking Akure dialects and all that. Even your English language, the English you're speaking with, to me with, is in Akure dialect. I know. I'm Igbo. I'm from Imo State. Look at, what are we talking about? When not BSc, where were you born? She goes, Akure. How many times have you visited Imo State? She goes, once when I was very little. That means you have nothing in common with Imo State, even though that is where your parents come from. Uh, so that means that people know who they are, where they come from. Why are we denying ourselves the truth? Why are we denying ourselves the truth? Enough with all this hypocrisy. Enough with all this self denial and denial. Some people will say, "Oh, I know, we know Nigeria will separate one day, but not now." Who tells you when? Look at who knows when? Who knows when? I was in the Boy Scouts, and one of the rules of the Boy Scout is be prepared. Be prepared. Are we prepared? Are we preparing? We're not even making any effort to prepare for what is to come. Uh, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Ọlọ́run á kó wa yọ, Ọlọ́run á gbọ́ àdúrà wa. I don't know how long I don't know how long I've been speaking, but I think I was gonna have 2 or 3 more minutes. If I'm not sure if I'm correct with that. So I have said this. I'm very Number one, we must pursue the necessity to grow organically, like Europe, Asia, and the Arab countries. We must not where we found ourselves by virtue of some European countries' economic conquest. We must reclaim our rights to self-determination. Uh, and the least we should aspire to become as Nigerian is to be able to have the Benelux experience. Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, they are there. Until Europe came around, they were separate countries, but with a single visa. So why can't we do the same thing as Nigerians? I'm just using the 3 big tribes as an example. So we must have the chance to rearrange ourselves. That's another big one. We must have the chance to rearrange ourselves. We must have the chance to live organically. Ká ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wá the idea pé a fẹ́ dàbí United States of America, kí ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀? It's an idea. Àwa kọ́ la idea yẹn. A lè mọ̀. Kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ l'America nsìnyí? Okay, ó dáa. What's going on in America today? They are pursuing, a certain section of the society is pursuing self-preservation. That is what is going on in America right now. I can't believe in less than 50 years from now, it will be the minority. Those are the Caucasians. Èmi ò fẹ́ jẹ́ kí ìran mi tán láyé o. So ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ̀ ń sọ pé kọ́mọ yín má sọ Yorùbá, kọ́mọ yín má sọ Igbo, kọ́mọ yín má sọ any language whatsoever. Kọ́ má sọ Ẹ̀dó, kọ́ má sọ Asian, ẹ múra sí i. tó bá yá tó bá di pé culture yẹn parẹ́, we shall see. So it's important we take into cognizance all these things. Ọlọ́run á fún wa ṣe o. Èmi ò call fún violent dissolution of Nigeria. No. Mo kàn sọ pé kí gbogbo Africa people kan challenge the 1884-85 design of Africa. Kan reconfigure Africa to their own personal wish, not the wish, aspiration, and conquest of Europeans or powers beyond our borders. So I join with people. I join with Àwùjọ Ọmọlúàbí to say ẹ kú iṣẹ́, Odùduwà á gbè wá o, kò ní gbọ̀dàlẹ̀. Ẹ ṣé.